So, do you know how many foreign nationals live in the country?
What are you defining as a foreign national?
I was just listening to your someone that's not born here. Yeah, I was just listening to your conversation.
Someone who's not born here, so they could have UK citizenship.
Well, foreign nationals is foreign nationals, isn't it? It's not born to this country and probably haven't got a UK passport. It's
well, no. For instance, like people like Boris
million.
Johnson, right?
About 11.4 million.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. So you just said less than 1%.
It is a rising country who holds citizenship of a different nation. Oh, so actually foreign nationals don't have to be born outside of the country. They just have to hold a passport of a different nation. Yeah, so they can be even born in this country.
That's not 1% of the population, though, is it?
Yes, but most of them people aren't immigrants.
And a lot of these people have managed to claim leave to stay and are now claiming benefits. And
yeah, that's their right.
Along with it. So
wait, hang on. What's the difference between a foreign national and an immigrant?
1%, and that was wrong.
Yeah. So what's the difference between a foreign national and an immigrant? Do you know?
What sort of immigrant? So an illegal immigrant, undocumented.
The category of immigrants.
An illegal immigrant is undocumented.
Hang on. Stop dodging the question. Right. What's the difference between a foreign national and an immigrant?
A foreign national is allowed to come over with authorised entry, essentially.
A foreign national can be born in the UK.
So why haven't they got a British passport?
They do. A lot of foreign nationals have British passports because a foreign national is just defined. Hang on. A foreign national is just defined as someone who holds residency in another country. So, for example, my cousin moved out to Spain, right, and lived there for 5+ years. So he got residency. He is technically a foreign national, even though he was born in the UK. So I don't think you know what these terms mean. And I think you're mixing up immigrant and foreign national to try and make a statistic look better than it is.
Well, it's not. It says 11.4 million.
Yes, apart from my cousin born here in the UK would count under that definition.
Still a foreign national then, yeah.
Okay, so again, the difference between an immigrant and a foreign national is a foreign national can literally be born in the UK.
Oh, right. Is that so?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, surprised. Yeah. So them stats are a bit misleading, then, you're going to say?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Right, okay, then. I'll get off then. Yeah.
Good job. All right. See you soon. Take care.
I am just wondering why you feel that immigrants should be welcomed into this country. Actually, let me change that. I'm talking about illegal immigrants only.
I don't think illegal immigrants should be allowed in the country.
So, does that mean that you would agree with some things that Reform UK are planning to do?
Like get rid of illegal immigration. Yeah, that's what every government does pretty much since governments began.
The current government doesn't seem to be doing very well, though, do they?
Yeah, they deported, I think, 40,000 people last year. They do deportations of illegal immigrants. Like, everyone does this. The problem is, Reform tend to think that legal immigrants are illegal immigrants, when in fact they have claims to legal immigration here. For example, asylum seeking.
Can you back up that statement saying that they feel that legal immigrants are also illegal?
Yeah, so they keep blaming people in hotels. The only way to get into asylum-seeking hotels is through a government process and a legal process.
Okay.
So everyone in those hotels is a legal person.
Right. I wouldn't say they are legal when they're in the hotels.
Yeah, see, the problem is the deficit in understanding of the legal process of asylum seeking in the UK. And this is what Reform will not explain to you, is that there is a process by which to claim asylum in the UK, and it's by reaching our shores and then going through the asylum process. And every single person who is going through the asylum process is legal.
But I'm talking about they've come here illegally.
They've come here in irregular routes, technically, not illegally.
And what about all the other countries they come through to get here? Then they arrive here, they get handed everything, they commit crime, they take housing from us, they take all this stuff that they don't deserve, in my opinion, because they don't belong here.
Well, anyone who commits crime is either going to jail or being deported. That's not going to change. The problem there is crime. But these people come through different countries, often because lots of countries are taking in asylum seekers anyway, often because they have links to the country. For example, if you have someone living in the country who can help you through an asylum process, you might choose to go to that country over a different country, or if you speak the language, it might help you get through an asylum process. So there's a lot of reasons as to why asylum seekers come here. But even with that, we only take about 1%. I think it's under 1%. Of asylum seekers around the world. So we're not actually doing, more than is expected of us.
We only take 1%.
Yep.
Would you say?
France take 100,000 more people than us every single year.
Yeah, legally.
No,
potentially.
Well, legally, yeah, but we take people legally as well. We don't take people illegally.
How many illegal immigrants come to the UK every day, would you say?
Every day?
Yes.
I'm not too sure.
Well, yesterday, for example,
Mm-hmm.
219 illegal immigrants arrived in the UK.
How many of them seeked asylum?
Well, if they're coming here, then they're all seeking asylum.
No, 2% of them won't seek asylum. So
what would
I think it'd be like 4 people, right? 4 of those people would be illegal immigrants. The rest would be legal immigrants.
So I'm trying to understand how, the difference between immigrating illegally and illegally if they're coming the same way.
Yeah. So what you might have to contend with is that people who are persecuted in different countries may have to come through what is called irregular routes, which are routes that aren't conventional. They're not planes, right? Or they're not ways in which visa holders from overseas get here. This is recognized internationally. This is why we're signed up to the Refugee Convention of 1951, because we recognize that things like war or things like being gay in certain countries might lead to government persecution, which is why you might have to flee through irregular routes into different countries, one of them being the UK.
Mm-hmm. I also want to ask you what you think about the people who come here who say that they're going to turn this country into an Islamic country. They spit on our religion, our culture, and like I said before, they commit crimes. And I know you're saying that's an issue of crime, but the rate of crime from the people who are coming over is far higher than the rate of crime from people who actually are citizens here. They are raising the amount of crime.
No. Actually, it tends to be the other way around. Immigrants tend to do less crime than native-born citizens, just because native-born citizens are much more comfortable in their position and know that they won't have to be deported, as well as a prison sentence happening to them as well. You hear a lot about crimes committed by asylum seekers, definitely throughout the UK, because it basically turns heads at the moment. But in terms of any stats, I'm yet to be shown that immigration increases crime. In fact, a meta-analysis of 51 different studies found that immigrants have a negative effect on crime, a slight negative effect, but still a negative effect. It's like 0.03.
Okay. And from what I've seen, if an asylum seeker does commit a crime, let's say, for example, sexual assault,
Mhm.
they get let off because apparently they have circumstances which, because they don't understand the law, or they were raised in a different culture so they don't know that it's wrong, that means they should be let off. And I do not agree with that. If you would like to come here, you follow our laws, you pay your taxes, you work, you don't assault people, you don't rob people, you follow our culture because this is our country. If you want to come here, you conform. You don't try and take over.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is down to our law and our interpretations from judges, right? I absolutely agree that sentencing guidelines need to be looked at in the UK for people who do SA across the board. Like, for example, there was a gynecologist, UK-born native, who basically essayed someone he was training on, I believe. Sorry, he was a student gynecologist, and the judge fucking let him off because he said it would ruin his career, and that to me is disgusting. So absolutely, we should be looking at sentencing guidelines and, you know, judges who interpret the law in these sorts of ways, and we should be basically kicking them out. Definitely 100%. But blaming immigrants is never going to solve that problem, because that's a problem we have with our internal law.
Yes, exactly. It's a problem with our law, but I'm not excusing UK citizens for their actions to say they shouldn't be punished. I'm saying that these people who are coming over, just because they have a different culture or they don't understand our law, they get let off. And I don't see, you know, if someone who lives here that commits the same crime, they won't get that reasoning because, they don't understand.
Yeah,
So
I think that's bullshit reasoning. Anyone who's saying I'm from a different culture, therefore, you know, SA is okay. Yeah, 100% that person should be, locked up. But that's still a problem with our law. We've got to go, first of all, we've got to stop any judges that do this. But secondly, then we've got to look at sentencing guidelines and say, hey, look, maybe someone who does SA should be in prison for longer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So I get where you're coming from, and it is very frustrating. But the problem in those points is crime. It's not really immigration, because most immigrants, legal immigrants, are just here to get on with their lives. Like, they're either just trying to provide for their family or for themselves and just make a better, more prosperous future.
And this is something where if I express this opinion to a lot of people, they take it as if I'm saying I don't accept any immigrants. I don't want any immigrants here. I have friends and neighbours and in my community, there's people who have migrated here, who work and they've built a life for themselves. They pay their taxes, they follow the law. And that's not my issue. My issue is with the certain ones who come here and they don't do those things. Yeah. And I feel like they don't get punished for that. They get let off because of their circumstances, and that's what I disagree with.
Yeah, anyone who gets let off SA for such bullshit reasons, 100%, they should not be coming here whatsoever. I think. But yeah, I think in terms of what's the issue, we don't disagree. It's the fact that that people are let off fundamentally a lot of times in the UK for things like rape and SA, and we need to have a crackdown on that. Unfortunately though, like, immigration isn't really gonna, if we attack immigration, it isn't really gonna help solve the issue.
It wouldn't solve the issue, but I feel like from what you're saying, it's making me doubt my own opinions, because I do feel that mass immigration is the worst thing that is happening to this country as of right now.
Why do you think that?
If you take a look at, like you were talking about London earlier, or Birmingham, or, you know, all of these places that are just being taken over, and you're saying the crime isn't increasing, but it is, and we've all seen this, that the crime is increasing in these places where all these people are living now. And also,
unfortunately, that just tends to not be true. You can go to any, I think there's a crime survey done every year, and things like stabbing crimes, for example, are actually going down, even in London. I actually learned today that it's more dangerous to go to a lot of American cities than it is to London, or yesterday I did learn that. Unfortunately, it is on a particularly low point at this point, so it can't really be blamed on mass immigration at all. There may be areas in which crime has gone up, but we need to look into why crime has gone up in these areas, and I'll tell you, maybe from a sociological point of view, a lot of it's probably because the services and infrastructure in those places has gone downhill because of Tory austerity, like in the last sort of 15 years-ish, which Labour have decided to carry on, unfortunately. But you can look at those as a kind of a test study and see, you know, whether the crime is going up or down in specific areas, and try and solve that. And I would definitely encourage that sort of thing. But nationally, crime is going down at this point.
I'll just say one more thing, and then I'll let someone else come on. If we just look at the general state of the country, not talking about the crime rates or you know, all the statistics, just what this country is becoming as we let these people in. Our values, our morals, our culture, the way that what this country was built to be is being destroyed because these people do not respect what this country is. And I do not want my country to turn into... I don't want... You know, you can't even fly the Union Jack in this country. I mean, how unbelievable is that you cannot fly your own country's flag in your own country?
We fly the flag all the time. What are you talking about?
Yes, we fly
outside Buckingham Palace, outside Westminster, like lots of councils fly flags all the time. Union Jacks.
They fly them. I'm talking about the response that it gets when someone sees a flag. People rip them down. People, if you have anything on you that has the Union Jack, you're called a racist, or you're called far right.
I know people who do fly Union Jacks. They're not really called racists, right? I mean, the whole threat of the Union Jacks was because people were trying to use it to intimidate asylum seekers, to basically say they shouldn't be here. That was why there was like an uproar against it. And then people started doing dangerous shit with flags, like putting them on lampposts where they weren't meant to be, so they caused safety hazards. Like, most people, if you hang a flag on your own property, most people won't even call you racist. They'll just be like, oh, cool,
most
you're
people
from the UK. There'll be some crazy people who do call you racist.
But why are we ignoring the people who do by saying most people don't? It's almost like saying most people aren't rapists, so don't worry about the ones that are.
Yeah, do you think there might be a difference between someone calling someone else racist and then someone raping someone?
It's just an example. I'm not comparing the two situations. I'm using this...
I would say one is like pretty meh. The other one is a serious crime. That's why one might be taken more seriously. Like, I can choose to, engage with people who just shout like that I'm a racist over and over again, but it's probably best to leave those, people just be crazy by themselves, no?
Okay, let me use a different example then that's more on the same level. If someone said, most people aren't homophobic, so let's not worry about the ones who are.
Wait, people who are like
example.
Crazily homophobic? It's not
Just
actually a crime to be homophobic. And yes, a lot of the time, socially isolating that person is actually quite good. Like, say if, I don't know, my granddad was homophobic, and then I said I'm never going to see him again, a lot of the time that will bring people round. I think social isolation is an important tool when it comes to, basically getting people to understand how people are feeling. And I can't enforce any law on that person. So the thing I'm going to do is go, yeah, fuck you then.
Okay. I will let someone else come on, but my main point is that I just want this country to stay our country. I do not want this country to be taken over. And I disagree with the mass immigration.
Mass immigration isn't happening, so it dropped like 67% at the end of last year. Right. But would you also not say it's probably more conducive to actually start spending on the UK population to like help grocery prices, combat our cost of living, try and lower house prices so more young people can get houses and therefore like have more children?
I'm not understanding the question.
So like, oh, thank you very much for the fist bump. So in terms of what would actually be good, is the best thing to do? Is it to hound immigrants, or is it maybe to look inwards and go, hey, look, if we want, our quote unquote culture to stay the same, we've got to be like having people in the UK. And right now we're in, our birth rates are declining. So what we need to do is make sure that everyone is in a suitable like financial position to have children. And the way you do that is by combating the cost of living crisis, making sure that young people can get houses, making sure there's a good standard of education that everyone goes through. Like, there's so much good we could be doing that isn't hating on immigrants that could actually flip the script.
So you're saying that we should focus on helping ourselves, which in a way is basically backing up what I'm saying, because instead of the government focusing solely on helping the asylum seekers and giving them everything, making our taxes rise so we can pay for these people, shouldn't they be caring for us instead? Which would therefore
care
mean...
for both of them. And it's more conducive to care for both of them.
Why not care for both and not just one? Because at the moment, it really seems like the people of this country are just don't give a shit about you. We're just going to care about all the people who are coming in.
Well, they don't really care about them coming in. Like, the Labour government are literally saying, we will nick your jewellery if you come in. Like, I don't know if the Labour government particularly like asylum seekers. Under international law, obviously they have to take them in. But I'm for, expanding housing programs. I'm for making sure things like inequality are reduced. Is reduced. Because in the long run, yes, this will help people. If there's more and more people who have the choice to have kids, doesn't have to wait until they've got they're into their late 30s before they start having children, if they so wish to. That's a good thing.
So the cost of living, the taxes that we're all paying, that has risen because of immigration. So I'm not going to be able to afford a mortgage or to even have children if this continues.
Immigration really doesn't have much effect on house prices.
It does. It affects the cost of living.
No, we can actually see this. From 2023 to 2024, house prices went... not house prices, sorry. Immigration fell by 400,000 people, and we saw no effect on house pricing whatsoever.
With all these people coming in, we need more houses, don't we?
So
Because
the people that
population
come
is
in
rising.
make like 47, or the refugees that come in make up like 47,000 people, right? But when our immigration fell 400,000, we still didn't see house prices get better.
House prices have got better.
No.
House prices have increased.
Yeah, that means they're getting worse, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, statistically, it's not going to matter if, we don't even have mass immigration to the UK. It seems that whatever amount of immigrants we have, the house prices are still bad. So, in terms of what we do with immigrants, doesn't really affect house pricing.
If we were not letting them all in, we wouldn't need more housing, so therefore the prices of housing would not increase as much as
you would think so, but unfortunately this just isn't true, because when 2023 to 2024 immigration fell by 400,000 people, we saw no impact on housing. In fact, housing kept going upwards. So clearly it's something to do with our housing market rather than the people that we're letting in.
Did you say 2023 we lost 400,000 people?
Yeah.
So that was 3 years ago. I would probably say within the last 3 years, that's probably 400,000 probably come back. So
Okay.
So that's sort of, if you're comparing it to then, it's not like in 2023 they left and it's been going down since then. It's you can't say that the number of people immigrating to this country is going down, because it's just gone up non-stop in the last 20 years.
In the last 20 years, yeah, but you didn't see any effect when it actually went down. So
Because
clearly
it went
the
down.
answer to the housing crisis is never going to be kicking out immigrants, because you can kick out 400,000 of them and it still has no impact.
It's not the only solution, but it is probably...
No, it's not even a solution. A solution is to
Definitely.
actually increase the amount of houses that we have, increase social housing, increase affordable housing.
which will then increase taxes.
Yeah, for rich people, I think we should increase taxes. Do you not think that?
I do, yeah, but if if you're looking at what happened in the last 2 months, the taxes aren't increasing for the rich people, the taxes are increasing for the poor.
100%.
So it really, there's not what is being done right now that is actually benefiting any of us.
I'm not a Labour supporter, so I would be like, fuck yeah, I'd be asking the same questions.
So do you feel that Reform are worse than Labour? Or
Oh yes, 100%. Anyone who turns around and goes, hey look, these people in government are doing bad, let me take you out of a human rights convention, it's a bad party.